We're hearing about Don Reid and his early life. We've heard about his life as a youngster at Claremont All Age and with Miss Lou, who was so wonderful to you, to raise you after you were given away when you were 2 years old. You went to Fern Court High School. Is that the school you chose or you were placed there?
No, in those days, Fern Court High School was the school to aspire to because it was in the community. So every child's dream in those days was, was to go to Claremont All Age and then to pass your common entrance and head to Fern Court High School.
Who was the principal then?
Miss Sharon Kelly. I think
she was an excellent
easily
principal.
the best principal to have passed through Fern Court.
What were your years like at Fern Court?
Well, the first years were very rocky. So, I passed, incidentally, I got my birth certificate. I was unregistered up to the night, on the eve of my common entrance. I got my birth certificate. And in fact, the last name that I had now is not my father's last name. It's actually my mother's last name. But I got my birth certificate the night of common entrance at 10 years old, just in time. So I passed my common entrance, went to Fern Court. So at this time, I started to become more aware of myself, wondering what's my identity. All I'm seeing around me is Miss Lou, but I'm not seeing any blood relatives. I'm not seeing no mother, no father. So I started to have all these questions in my head. I would spend days at school under the big tree, just staring in isolation, wondering who I am, who am I? And, so I found acceptance in a friend. I will not withhold his name. And he embraced me. Unfortunately, he was a time waster. So I started to waste time as well. So I didn't really know work in first form. Ended up in those days, they had a system where the brighter students were placed in one class, and then you were grouped by according to your work in the previous form for second form. So I ended up in what they call the dunce class. I used to make a joke that the class was so dunce that there were 38 of us. I did no exams and came 19th. Oh, so apparently they had placed me by last name. That's just a joke that I used to make. But on the summer after second form ended, the principal expelled my closest friend and called in Miss Louise, because the principal and her used to go to the same church, the St. Matthew's Anglican Church. And she knew of my exploits in performing arts and recitation, so she knew I was not a dunce by any means. She told Miss Lou that, listen, we're going to give Donovan a chance. If he doesn't show any improvement by the Christmas term in third form, he's out. So that was enough for me. In that Christmas term, I came first in almost every subject in my class. So much so that I finished on top of the class for that year and was placed in my class of choice, which was, for fourth form, was the sciences, which was where most of the brightest students had aspired to in fourth form. And that is where I really came into my own. Because in that class, you didn't have much, if any, time wasters. It was very competitive, and it really drove me to lift my performance to a higher standard, so much so that I ended up being on the school's challenge quiz on JBC in those days. Yes. In fact, that was the last quiz held that was moderated by Dennis Hall at the time, when the students were at South Odeon Avenue. I ended up captaining the Fern Court table tennis team. I was on the science exhibition team that came to Hilton every year. Those days, it was the Wyndham Hotel. I also was on did I say chess?
No.
Yes, I was also on the chess club.
No
in
football?
The chess team.
No,
because when I expressed interest in football and athletics, Miss Lou said, no. I didn't say I go to school. I never said I go to school, go play no football and kick the ball, boy. Dear book. So I lost interest in representing the school in those. But academically, it was where...
When you graduated with most of the sciences.
I graduated in 1991. And incidentally, I need to share this with you. So in the summer, you graduate and then you're waiting on the 6E results. Now I was so nervous. I didn't want to go for my results. But anyway, a friend of mine came and said, listen, I'm going for my results. So now, come, you're not going for yours. I said, boy, no, man, you go ahead. And the friend, forced me. When I reached the foot of the hill, because the school is on a hill, I see all the vendors, about 6 of them, running down the hill to come and hug me up and kiss me. I said, oh, because they all knew Miss Lou, because they were vendors as well. And I said, boy, I'm so proud of you, Donovan. I'm so proud. Apparently, the school was advertising the results. So it ended up that I passed all of my subjects and finished as joint top student at valedictorian at graduation ceremony.
Everybody needs another chance, eh?
Everybody needs another chance. So that's my success story in terms of Fern Court.
After Fern Court, what happened?
Well, before Fern Court, in the summer of third form, I had a near-death experience. So I was swimming, I went to the beach in Ocherius at 13 years old, went out into the deep, got in difficulties, and was unconscious for about 2 days. Woke up in the hospital, so I spent about a week in the hospital. And the entire community thought that was it because I was really unconscious. I had taken in so much water that I was unconscious for about 2 days.
Well, you know, your life has been a balancing act.
Right, right.
You left Fern Court. Did you know what you wanted to do or where you wanted to go?
Yeah, well, when I was firm in my mind that I wanted to become a doctor from a very early age. But why I wanted to become a doctor? Because there was this man in Claremont from an early age, when I was a young boy, he used to give me money. And he said to me, listen, you see, if when you grow up, you don't turn a doctor, I'm going to shoot you. So that is why I wanted to become a doctor. But when I left Fern Court in the summer, I went to the hospital to do work experience because I wanted to become a doctor. Now, that changed my perspective 100%. I decided I couldn't be any doctor. I couldn't stand the whole operations and conditions associated with the hospital. So I changed my mind immediately. When the summer job ended, I applied for permanent position at the hospital in the administrative offices, and I was successful, you know. So this lady, I'd never forget, after about 3 months, this lady came to me and said, come here, little man, sit down. And said, listen, nobody feels say, you're going to stay here and sit down here like we, you know. You get out your pen and the paper, and she made me write 3 job applications. 1 to Scotiabank, 1 to Cable and Wireless, when it was Jamaica Telephone Company at the time, and 1 to National Commercial Bank. NCB was the first that responded. And when I went at 16 years old, 4 feet 6 inches and 73 pounds, went to that interview. After sat in front of the manager, and he was just, you know, awed and at the way I was able to deliver myself. And at the end of it, I'll never forget, his name is Lincoln McIntyre. He retired as a senior executive of the bank several years ago. And he said to me, little man, you're very young, but you're very intelligent, so I'm going to give you a chance. And he gave me that opportunity at 16 years old. I had to run cash as a teller on a beer box because I couldn't see over the counter.
But you had malnutrition issues when you were much younger, you know, so that could have been why you were as tiny as you were. But we're going to take a break now and come back to hear about bank, yes, but entertainment.
Right,
yes.
right.
Don Reid is my special guest, and we're talking about his life. Of course, you just heard about how he started with the National Commercial Bank, and he's been there in banking for 28 years. We'll be right back.